Ranger 2510 with an overall length of 24 feet 7 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and a max horsepower rating of 300.
All right, in this episode, it's only fitting that Ranger joins us. We've seen the Triton, now we have the Ranger. Everyone that watches the industry knows that these boats are now in the same camp, and they both came from Bass Boat Industries. So let's see how the Ranger has redesigned their bay boat.
They're cousins, there's no question about that, but they're different too. There's a whole lot to love on this one. Starting up here, I love the fact you can store a 9-foot fly rod over here, 10 rods below deck, never know they're there.
Well, you know, it's a lot of little things that we call out on the boats that we really like. I love the fact that they addressed mounting a trolling motor. A lot of the bay boats that we've tested over the past 2 seasons of Best Boat, it was like the trolling motor was an afterthought, or the manufacturer said, you've got to put it on the left side. Maybe you don't want it on the left side for whatever reason. Maybe you dock to that side because that's where you keep your boat on your lift and you would rather put it to the right side. This is the first bay boat that I've seen where they've addressed the issue of being able to bow mount a trolling motor. They've given you a plug, but they let you pick which side you want to mount it on.
Oh my word, think about how often you pull into a marina to spend the night. If you've got a favorite marina, it can make all the difference. You don't want that thing banging up against the dock at night. You'd much rather it be on the other side of the bow.
You know, the aft part of this casting deck, you'll like the double step. This is something we call out on every boat. I like the ability to take 2 steps to get up here, but they've got a huge insulated drink cooler and a lot of dry storage that we're standing on.
A lot of dry storage, a lot of fish box room. It's a boat that comes from offshore and does a very good job inshore. But make no mistake about it, this boat's roots are in a little bigger water than any class boat will be in.
Well, one other issue that Ranger addressed is you're going to be taking your family out in a bay boat this size. If you want to put a head on the boat, they've given you the means to do that. They've got a nice big center console. You can open up the entire front of the center console and step down in there for a head. That's something that's not optional on the other 2 boats.
Well, it's not, and married guys need heads. If your wife and your daughters are going with you, you certainly want that option. And if you're going to have a family and you're going to buy a boat like this has got to appeal to everybody or it doesn't appeal to anybody. I can tell you what, long-time offshore guys are going to recognize this console. You know, everything's about the experience and how it makes you feel. This just feels big boat to me.
Well, it does, and here again, we talk about what the boat's gonna be used for. So if you have a guy that's leaning more toward offshore and a little less toward inshore, this might be the right size console for him.
You're not kidding, it might be. You can put 2 14-inch screens there. I feel very secure. You can have all the electronics you want. It's just laid out nice. Here we go again, more comfortable seating, straight out of the bass boat world, you and your bass boats. But after all, it's a Ranger.
Well, yes, it is a Ranger, but they have been building offshore boats for a long, long time. And here it is in their live well that they put behind these seats. This is a real working offshore live well.
It's a big boat live well, you're right. The hatch is big enough to dump your cast net in, shake your baits out, and easy to catch that last bait. There's no crawling around trying to reach up and find the place where the last bait's hiding. You can nail them all from there.
Well, they've got the light blue interior that a lot of guys like. They've got the rounded corners. They have the volume that you're going to need. If you're going to take this boat offshore and you're going to black out that live well with greenies, you've got enough volume to keep them alive.
It's not a fashion thing, Dave. They've learned that the light blue live well keeps the water cooler. That keeps the bait fresher. They've also learned that a clear lid means you know the minute you start to get in trouble water level-wise. If you get a bait stops up, you get a pump fails or something, somebody that's back here is immediately going to see, hey, wait a minute, we're losing water in the live well.
All right, if you look at the rear seating we were talking about earlier, I like the design that it's one-handed, it flips up, you can easily seat 2 people there, but it's in the middle of the boat. You're not on the outside edges because I don't care how dry your boat is, if you sit on the outside edges, you're gonna get wet.
You're gonna get wet, and here you're in the center of gravity of the boat, Dave, cup holders and armrests. It doesn't sound like a big thing, but if you're running 40 miles to the next fishing spot, it's a very big thing.
Well, bay boats, like we talked about, they're going to be for fishing, they're going to be for the family. Even if they're not for the family, this is a great place to ride. Like you say, for a long ride, I'm going to rather be sitting here than up there on the front seat of the console.
I'd rather be here than anywhere on the boat.
Well, the design of it's nice. When you lay it down, now you've got a nice, big, flat, flush rear casting deck, but it's one-handed operation. Even in rough seas, it'll be easy to open, easy to close, and it looks super, super comfortable. It's a great design for rear seating.
Tell you what, this is a little different entry than anything we've seen in the 24 to 26 bay boats. This boat screams offshore boat at you. Now, what Ranger's done is they've brought in so many of the features of an offshore boat, the big live well, big fish boxes, a lot of rod lockers, a big console. This boat just screams ocean to you, and yet it'll draft in 10 inches of water. The Ranger 2510, a very serious offshore boat that can come inshore when it needs to.
Each month, turn to Florida Sportsman for the best in boating and fishing coverage.